It is often asserted that dogs can help relieve stress. This is usually presented as a supposed benefit, which is said to be conferred by dog ownership. But, as I have noted in previous videos, whether dogs have this effect or not is irrelevant because they can also cause stress. And in point of fact, they do. Not only for non-dog owners and people who can't stand these critters, but for dog owners as well. So today we will look closely at some of the ways in which dogs cause stress for people, although a case shouldn't have to be made here as it is demonstrable.
So first, dogs have fangs. The significance of this is that dogs have the means to bite. And in fact, they have the motive and opportunity as well. Any time a dog is around someone, it has the chance to inflict pain on them, and the motive is the fact that it's a dog, and I will elaborate on that shortly. Put another way, dogs bite, and everybody knows this. This is well established and widely recognized as true, and for this reason alone, the fact that dogs can and often do bite, people experience stress around dogs. And of course, dogs don't just bite. They can maim and disfigure, and can cause serious bodily injury, even death. Here it should be noted that dying from injuries sustained during a dog attack is not a quick and painless process either, but rather the opposite. And I want to make this clear for all the apologists out there who wish to project dogs as victims of human intervention. Dog attacks are entirely self-motivated. That is to say, they are carried out because of self-interest, without needing pressure from external factors. Dogs have these weapons at their disposal at all times, and they clearly possess the instinct and the desire to latch onto other living things with their mouths. So obviously, it is within a dog's nature to act aggressively, even without any so-called provocation. In point of fact, that is how the vast majority of attacks unfold, in a completely unprovoked way. This is why dogs must be trained to not be aggressive, which they clearly are without human intervention. So, if anything, people make dogs less aggressive. Finally, dog attacks are not at all uncommon. If anything, they are very underreported, and often their severity is downplayed, or it is presented as though it were an inevitable part of life, when in fact we could do away with it altogether. As I told one dog worshipper, we could get rid of the source of dog attacks, which is dogs themselves, but not lightning storms. Next, dogs produce feces. Nobody is relieved or relaxed when encountering dog shit in some public location or in some area close to where they live. For that matter, the willingness of many dog owners to allow their flea bags to urinate and defecate on neighbors' private lawns. This isn't exactly promoting peace in local communities. Questions like,
how do I stop someone from letting their dog go in my yard?
These are frequently asked all across the web. Just do a search for complaints about things associated with dogs, dog owners, and dog ownership in general, and you will see that dogs cause a great deal of exasperation, annoyance, anger, frustration, disappointment, dissatisfaction, aggravation, and conflict.
I caught someone walking their huge labs, willingly let one of them piss on my neighbor's roses. The things are dead now. I mean, the roses are dead, and unfortunately not the dogs.
That post was pulled from a thread with this title. It is one of many that can easily be found on the web. I personally remember when I first started seeing lots of dog waste, which obviously wasn't being picked up, littering all the green spaces in one particular apartment community. It was a serious issue and had to be reported to property management on a regular basis. If this is a byproduct of dog ownership, then it should not be permitted. Saying the dog can help the owner feel better is not an argument. I could claim that outdoor defecation reduces stress for me, but nobody would accept that as a reason for me to be allowed to engage in this act. So why are we entertaining arguments from dog fanatics that may as well be them saying that this applies to them? Although they aren't turning every outdoor area into a filthy public toilet themselves directly, they are purchasing and promoting beasts that do. So they may as well be doing this themselves, which no one would accept, not even if they were to pick it up. Next, there is filth in general. Beyond the open defecation, dogs are rather nasty, and it can't be pleasant to have to deal with their constant messes. I don't know why dog owners don't immediately get rid of their dogs the minute they learn that theirs needs to have its anal glands expressed. Of course, I've wondered the same thing about people with those terrible leash gremlins they parade about. Like the very first time these vermin exhibit this mindless mutant aggression, that is when those owners should think to themselves, perhaps I'm a cat person, or maybe the whole pet thing is not for me. And yet they continue to tolerate all of it, not the least of which is the general nastiness that comes with living with one of these insufferable walking garbage disposals, rubbing their bottoms all over carpets and furniture, chewing up your personal effects, generally making messes by virtue of existing, and not to mention being a source of filth that gets tracked into your home. How can you stand it? You are living in squalor, dog nutter, and you have to know this. There's shaking, like the way they shake to dry themselves off, or for whatever other myriad reasons are listed as the cause, which is one way dogs fling everything that's caked onto their fur into the air and onto the walls, floors, tables, furniture, and various surfaces. And then there is frequency, as in sound, or rather noise, because that is all dogs produce. Every sound dogs make is truly objectionable, but their constant and always needless barking is what truly makes them loathsome in this regard. You can generally avoid having to hear most of the other noises they make, save perhaps their infernal howling, but you cannot even avoid their barking out in the sticks. That is to say, when you are living far from a city in the countryside. Of course, if you are living in a flat and one of your neighbors has a dog that's constantly producing all sorts of exasperating noises, then you're just stuck with it, I suppose, and you have my deepest sympathies. People online often ask why dog barking troubles them so much. They describe the way it either causes them anxiety or instant anger and annoyance. And the sound of it does raise cortisol levels. That is what's sometimes called the stress hormone. It is released by the adrenal glands in response to stress. Dog barking is the sort of sound that can cause a person who is totally at peace to be immediately vexed, even furious. And, as one Redditor put it has nothing to do with misophonia, although that certainly doesn't help. It's barking. In other words, it's loud, repetitive, and intrusive, and dogs can keep this up for quite some time. This commenter put it very well when they said, and this is a direct quote, "You would have to be abnormal to tolerate it." And as Cassie Bennett put it so well,
"We're not talking about working dogs in remote areas. We're talking about the pandemic of pet dogs that are a bane on society. From incessant barking, the thousands of attacks per day, to the destruction of our ecosystem with the unnatural feces and urine that destroys plant life and water supplies, etc. Many of us can no longer go to natural spaces like trails, parks, nature preserves, and lakes because they are overrun with dogs and their urine and feces. We are no longer safe in our own communities. I can't even take walks in my neighborhood because small women and elderly people have huge dogs and bully breeds that they have no control over should they decide to break free and attack. Now they are bringing dogs inside grocery stores and restaurants where it's completely unsanitary and a health code violation."
I had to use that quote again because it perfectly summarizes the nature of the problem we are dealing with, and also because it puts this notion of anyone extolling the purported virtues of dog ownership, particularly if they are going to cite well-being as one of them, into perspective. Which is to say, it reveals the very idea to be completely farcical and, in fact, downright offensive. Finally, there is fury. Although I really shouldn't say finally, as I can think of at least two more, and could actually carry on with examples for quite some time. But by this I mean the dog's unbridled mutant aggression, its inexplicable hostility towards anything that moves or breathes, and its wild and violent anger, which is the very definition of fury. Of course, you need not incite the ire of one of these hair-trigger goons to get attacked, and a dog isn't necessarily attacking because it has been driven to anger. Madness is more like it. After all, the only thing required for one of these low-rent bastardized canines to menace or assault you is for them to see you going about your business calmly. This goes along with the fact that these psychotic and feverish fiends possess razor-sharp fangs. It's not just that we know dogs have a tendency to bite, and not to mention the simple capability is enough to make their presence a showstopper. It's also the fact that they do exhibit this completely mindless, mutant aggression. About the least relaxing endeavor I can think of is having to walk in any neighborhood with multiple dogs behind gates and fences. And we all know why.
Morpheus!
Morpheus, stop!
No! Morpheus! No!
Morpheus! You wanna get slapped?
Morpheus! Stop it! Morpheus, no!
Stop! Back up!
Morpheus, no!
Go touch him, Mom. Go touch him.
Hell no, that sucker gonna that big old claw.
Morpheus!
Morpheus! No!
Morpheus,
You're gonna
stop!
hit hurt his eye. No, Morpheus! Oh, damn! He got him! He got him! He got him!